Hello, my name's Ison Harrison. I'm a partner at Ison Harrison Solicitors. The term firearm it's both a term of art and a legal definition. In law, a firearm is a lethal barreled weapon that's capable of firing a projectile. So that covers handguns, shotguns and rifles. In terms of licensing, it's shotguns and rifles today that are regularly certificated for use. So the licensing regime in England and Wales for firearms covers shotguns, rifles and antique firearms. Air weapons at the moment are not required to be licensed. Shotgun and firearm certificates are granted by the local police force. So if you're a resident of Leeds in West Yorkshire, then your application would be to West Yorkshire Police, and it would be West Yorkshire Police who reviewed that application, and it would be they who granted you a shotgun or firearm certificate. The police will consider all of the information and intelligence available to them when they're making their decision over whether to grant an application. So the place that they will start usually is the application form itself, which they'll review in some detail. They will contact the referees that are put forward by the applicant and obtain information from them. They will always obtain a medical report from the general practitioner. They will also consider the police national computer, and they'll look at intelligence and information that they hold on their records. That's not just limited to looking at previous convictions. They'd also look at police intelligence logs for things like call-outs for domestic incidents or even people being reported as a missing person. And what they're doing is they're looking for any evidence of identifiable risk. A shotgun or a firearm certificate would usually be refused if the police conclude that the person cannot be permitted to hold a firearms or a shotgun certificate without danger to the public safety or the peace. That's the test in law, and what it effectively means is that when there's an identifiable risk, a certificate shouldn't be granted. However, once you're in possession of your certificate, that entitles you to shoot legitimately and use your firearm anywhere in England and Wales. The only place to keep a shotgun or a firearm really is in an approved and inspected safe. It's likely that during the application process for a new certificate, a firearms licensing officer will come to the premises where the guns are going to be stored and will inspect the gun cabinet. What really needs to be taken care of is that the cabinet is properly installed and meets the basic requirements for security. There's no legal definition of what constitutes a good reason to own a shotgun or a firearm. If a shotgun or a firearm is required for work, then that will amount to a good reason. Similarly, if the applicant can establish that they enjoy shooting as a hobby or a pastime, that's a good reason. If the applicant has a particular interest in antique firearms and collects shotguns or firearms, that could be a good reason too. In fact, even if the person doesn't intend to use a shotgun or a firearm, but it's been passed down through generations and has particular sentimental value, that could technically be a good reason to own a firearm. The only way for a person who's had their certificate revoked or refused to get that certificate back is to lodge an appeal. Details of how to do this are on the revocation letter or the refusal letter that is supplied by the police. What needs to be done is that an application for an appeal is made in writing. The police will then respond and they'll either offer the applicant an opportunity for an interview with the police in the hope of resolving the case, or they'll prepare a bundle of evidence for the court which sets out why they think that their decision was right. As the appellant, you've then got the opportunity to put forward your own written arguments, and then the appeal itself will be listed and heard by a Crown Court judge with arguments on both sides by barristers. You, as the appellant, will often be called to give evidence, and you can expect that the Assistant Chief Constable would give evidence for the police.